I know I'm hearing a lot of negative things from a lot of hardcore fans, and I can't say I blame them. You can't blame fans for not liking big swings taken with their beloved franchise and their beloved characters. I totally get that. This was me the whole time watching this movie. They really just did that. They really did that. In shock the entire time. In shock the entire time watching this movie. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Justin here as always. Thanks for stopping by and hanging out with me today to talk about Halloween Ends. So guys, normally for a review like this, I just jump right into my thoughts about the movie and we just hit the ground running. But after leaving Halloween Ends, after stepping out of that theater, I'm more inclined to start this video off by posing a question. Let me explain. With a franchise like this, whether it be Halloween or Hellraiser or Nightmare on Elm Street or Friday the 13th, or even a movie like Star Wars, how important to you is fan service, and does that serve the experience of watching the movie in a good way or a bad way? How important to you as an audience is fan service? Are you more satisfied as a viewer if you watch a movie and are delivered exactly what you want, play by play, with a satisfying ending like everybody predicted? Or do you feel more satisfied and excited about a movie being delivered something completely beyond your expectations? I think there's two different camps here. People that are open to new experience, and there's people who hold movies and franchises like this in a high regard, and they do not want the movie to step out of those lanes. Those are two separate audiences. Which side do you fall on? Do you need your wheel to fall right in that groove and toe the line, or do you want that shit to go off the rails? I want to know which side you're on. Let me know in the comments below. And now let's get into my thoughts on Halloween Ends. After 45 years, the most acclaimed, revered horror franchise in film history reaches its epic, terrifying conclusion as Laurie Strode faces off for the last time against the embodiment of evil, Michael Myers, in a final confrontation unlike any captured on screen before. Only one of them will survive. What's going on, everybody? So I just got out of the theater from seeing Halloween Ends, the most anticipated horror movie of the year, possibly the most anticipated horror movie of the decade. The final confrontation between Jamie Lee Curtis, Laurie Strode, and Michael Myers. Is this movie a fitting conclusion to this 40-year-old saga? Is it a proper send-off to these beloved characters? My answer is a resounding fuck yes. My jaw was on the floor from the first minute of this movie to the last. In my opinion, okay, this is just my opinion, this is the best movie in this trilogy. Halloween 2018, Halloween Kills, and Halloween Ends. Halloween Ends is an original, tense, suspenseful, captivating, engrossing movie, and I just could not take my eyes off the screen for even a second. I was glued to this movie. Going back to the question that I posed at the beginning of this video, this movie is a complete departure from the first two films, and it feels almost like a standalone movie in its own way. This video will be completely spoiler-free, but I want to dive into everything that I thought made this movie not only stand out as a movie in this trilogy, but also just as a horror movie alone, a standalone horror movie. I think this is exactly what needed to be done in a franchise with this many installments. It would have been so easy to just give the predictable, standard conclusion that goes back to that fan service that I was talking about. And I think most longtime fans would have preferred that conclusion that towed the line and just gave us exactly what we expected. That's not the type of audience member I am. I want something different. I want something unique. I don't want the same old, same old. And I know me thinking this movie is the best installment in this trilogy may be unpopular, but I just thought this movie was awesome from beginning to end. This is a step up in every way, from the camera work to the performances, to the writing, to the portrayal of the characters. Everything fell into place for me, and I just couldn't take my eyes off this movie. This movie sets itself apart from the other two movies in nearly every single way. First off, the whole sound design of this movie is completely different. While the other two movies were very dominant with John Carpenter's score, don't worry, John Carpenter's score is present in this movie a lot and at great moments. But there are a lot of songs in this, not just score, an actual soundtrack and needle drops, which I thought it made it feel different and fresh. The movie plays with the idea of nature or nurture. Is someone born evil, or can some sort of switch be flipped? Can someone turn into a monster? I feel like the focus on the psychological elements of this movie, as opposed to just the hack and slash nature of the first two movies, are a far more interesting direction to take. Because the movie is so psychological and so engrossing, I didn't even mind the lack of gore and the lack of kills. Trust me, there are plenty of kills in this movie, and there are some brutal and really creative kills that I've never seen before in this movie, but this movie focuses far more on characters and psychological aspects where you really get into the head of these characters, and to me that was far more interesting than the regular path that this movie could have taken. I'm the type of audience member that really appreciates huge swings and big originality, and this movie delivers all of that. Because this movie is so different, and it's so blatantly different even from the opening scene, I had no idea what to expect from moment to moment. So at every moment I was just on the edge of my seat thinking, what the fuck is gonna happen next? Where the hell is this movie going? And that's what gives me joy out of a movie. That's what makes me excited when watching a movie. This movie gave me a feeling that I don't get too often. This year in horror has given me so many movies that I just haven't seen anything quite like, and I am so glad that David Gordon Green and Danny McBride and the other writers on this movie decided to go different and show what they can do as far as writing. And I think it paid off in a huge way. Now, I may be different from a lot of longtime Halloween fans. Maybe that's why I was able to separate the other movies from this one. I'm just going to admit this. I've only ever seen the first Halloween movie and the third Halloween movie. So I don't have 40 years of baggage and 10, 11, 12, 13 movies, however many movies there are. Had I grown up watching all of these movies and had this entire series have been beloved to me, maybe I would not feel the same way about this movie. That is very, very possible. But because my experience with this franchise is fairly limited, I was able to just watch this movie for what it was. And I kind of wish that longtime Halloween fans who may not like this movie, I wish that maybe they were able to separate themselves from the past and see something new. That being said, the events that take place in this movie, some people are just quite frankly going to fucking hate. There are things done with Michael Myers' character and with Laurie Strode's character and other characters that are introduced that are just so far removed from the rest of the franchise that I could honestly, and I would understand if longtime fans hated this movie. For me, that was just simply not the case. Also, I was really not sure what to think about this 4-year time gap because there is a big gap in time between Halloween Kills and this. And after watching Halloween Kills the other night, I was really thinking, man, I really love when movies pick up from the moment the previous movie ended, just like Halloween Kills did, because it just keeps the momentum going and you can almost just watch them back to back. But that really didn't take away from this experience. The way the story played out, the way they kind of chose to direct this plot, it actually worked for me, and it plays into the story overall in a way that I felt was very positive. Laurie and the granddaughter and the other citizens of this small town, for the past 4 years, there's been this ominous feeling because Michael hasn't been seen in 4 years, so there's just this feeling of dread that all of these townspeople have. Is he going to come back? Where is he? Is he still in town? Did he die? Did he disappear? Where is Michael? And all of those questions are answered in a really satisfying way. The movie still centers around Laurie. It still centers around Allison. I think that's the granddaughter's name. But the main focus kind of orbits them. They're not following Laurie and Allison the entire time, but the story orbits them, and they are still at the heart of this franchise. They're still at the heart of this movie. The movie just takes some left turns that keeps you on your toes and really keeps you guessing. I really don't want to dive into anything else. I think I'm going to go ahead and do a spoiler review. To dive into anything any deeper, I would really have to go into spoilers, and I think I'm going to save that for a spoiler review because there's a lot I want to talk about. But to really dive into this movie, it's best to just go in blind, and I don't want to spoil anything. In fact, I may have already said too much for fans that really hate even the smallest spoiler. But all in all, I loved this movie. It's the best in this trilogy, in my opinion. For me, the final moments of this film and the conclusion of this film is a perfect send-off for this franchise, this long 40-year saga, these characters. I know some people may not agree with that, but in my opinion, it was. And I just love everything about this movie. It really surprised me because I'm just quite frankly not the hugest Halloween fan. I like Michael Myers as a character. Just being a horror fan, you can't not love Halloween, especially the original movie. But this movie just offered something different, and I really got a lot out of it. And I hope fans really enjoy this movie. I know I'm gonna dive into a bunch of reviews and watch videos after this. I try not to influence my thoughts on a movie by watching other reviews, so I can't wait to dive in to what other people are saying. But I know I'm hearing a lot of negative things from a lot of hardcore fans, and I can't say I blame them. You can't blame fans for not liking big swings taken with their beloved franchise and their beloved characters. I totally get that. So it worked for me, but I can totally understand why it wouldn't work for most people. And whether it worked for you or didn't work for you, please let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, guys. But I know that's kind of vague. I didn't dive too deep into this, but this is just my overall feelings, my overall thoughts on the direction this movie took, what they did with the characters, why I felt the changes were welcomed in my opinion, why the big swings were appreciated by me. And I think that's all I have to say, guys. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought, but I think we're done here. Stay weird. Remember to always be yourself, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.
Introducing Spooky Goop, horrifying monster makeup you make up at home. Spooky Goop's bubbling lizard lips, bat bones, and toad toes create a ghoulish goo that makes a monster out of you.
Now that's a face no mother could love.
Spooky Goop, spine-tingling makeup for Halloween or any unearthly occasion.